Another Monday, another 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. And it's back, baby. Mental Health Mondays. It has been too long. I apologize. I have not done my part. I will take responsibility for that. Um, it's honestly, that's kind of what's led to this show. The reason that I haven't probably talked a lot about it is because I have been putting in the work on myself. And that's what today's about, man. Today's about doing the work for yourself. Now, when you're sitting on the airplane and you're getting ready to take off, and most of us are on our phones and we're not listening um, to what's being told to us or watching the videos that play to show us what to do in case of an emergency. The number one thing I remember from emergencies is that I have to get my own mask on before I can help others. And I think that is so crucial to think about when you think about your mental health and you think about what you go through on a daily basis, as well as whatever you went through leading up to the days before that day. And I don't just mean that day, I mean 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever the depth of life is, it's there. Most people in the world, whether they want to admit it or not, have some level, some sort of trauma in their lives that is taking place one way or another. There's a million different ways to have trauma. That is not what this discussion is about. My point to that is that there isn't a ton of discussion around it, especially when we're talking about men, which is why I started doing Mental Health Mondays in the first place many years ago, because it is important. Because men do need to do it. Any of you who watch The Price is Right, okay? My guy Drew Carey, every day at the end of the show, not only do the pets need to get spayed and neutered, because that's been a bit since the 1970s, but now it's been updated to talk about addressing your mental health, talking to people, and he ends the show by telling you that he loves you. Now, if that isn't really easy to wrap your head around, when someone in that position doesn't, if you don't know Drew Carey's story, go look it up, dude. Talk about fucking trauma. I'm talking about adult trauma that would bend your mind. So if you don't know, go check it out. But this is coming from a real place, right? So when he says that. So when I tell you that I've been putting in the work, I fucking mean it. I have been addressing shit in my life that goes back 30 years, 35 years. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The work, the ability to do that. We had a show on St. Patrick's Day, so last week, where I talked about confidence. And what's happening now is the more I clear up my energy, the more I'm feeling better about my life, working on the hard shit in life, whether that's the stress, work, past, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of shit that goes on, man, that you need to dig in and deal with. And I know there's a lot of people even more nervous about the world we currently live in, geopolitical world we live in. It's wild. Talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. I've been talking to a therapist since 2000. Well, I was raised in therapy. My father was an alcoholic when I was a kid. He's not now. Dude's probably 50 years sober at this point, coming up on his 80th birthday. We love you for that, Pops. You're the man. But when you look at dealing with addiction, you look at dealing with yourself, therapy is a place where you can go and hopefully get feedback and help growth. That's what I would tell you. Way back when I saw childhood therapy, I kind of realized early on that it was just a way for my parents to get questions answered that they didn't feel they could ask me as a kid based on what we were all dealing with. I think that was my own version. So I just early on was just always feeding answers as to be. So really I went to therapy first in early 2000s, for myself. And I had done some sensory therapy, and it was wild. It was wild. It was wild. And so I had seen a lot, learned a lot. Giving you slightly more information than maybe I should or people would care about, but in my teens, I had experienced a plant medicine based experience that had shown me my whole life. It lasted almost 12 hours and it was fucking insane. It was insane. And so when I walked out of that at the age of 18, 19, whatever it was, I thought, oh my God, I've seen my whole life. Yeah, I've seen the shitty stuff, but I think I fixed it. Well, fast forward to, what is that? 8, 9 years later, 7 years, 6 years later, I'm like, holy cow, I need therapy because I haven't dealt. Like I saw it all, but I haven't really dealt with what I've seen. I haven't dealt with what's happened. So I went back, dealt with what's happened, seen what happened. And that was 2005. Like I said, 20 years later, I've really decided to dive in. Thanks to my wife. Everything that we talk about as regards to my mental health and my desire to sort of tune into the energy and keep myself surrounded by good energy as opposed to negative, soul sucking energy, which exists. And I don't mean that in a rude way. It's just it happens a lot. And the more that I've become sort of in tune to that, the more that I've seen that around me and I've noticed where it changes me and how I change. So I have been doing the therapy. I've been doing breath work. Huh? How about that? I've been doing Reiki, which I've a year ago, there's no way. There's no way. 2 years, 3 years ago, I probably would have been even more adamant about no way. But I decided in my approach, and maybe it's not the right approach, but my approach is, can energy work help? Can crystals help? Well, let's assume that the worst case scenario to that is it does nothing. I'm okay with that. That's how I went into it. Because I knew it wasn't going to negatively affect me to try and drill down into my energy and try to, feel myself in a different way. That wasn't going to be a negative thing. Was it going to create emotions in raw circumstances? Absolutely, man. Most times when you want to change shit, it is difficult. So yeah, that's going to definitely be a thing. That's going to happen. I texted with a friend of mine in the fixed operations world, and you are free to comment, friend, if you want on this, but I'm not going to call you out that way. It's your journey, not mine. But I had said to him, hey man, I just had a hardcore Reiki session. I feel like you're one of the people that could appreciate that. And he comes back with all the time, bro. And I thought, holy shit, right? Holy shit. But we're not talking about it enough. We're not doing it enough. And we need to be open and honest about our mental health and how it is not easy. It is not easy to deal with your mental health. It takes serious amounts of commitment and work. But I can tell you, and I had this discussion with the woman that does my Reiki, where I basically said, look, your clearing of my energy, how I'm feeling, I'm feeling different. It's fucking wild. I'm being truthful with you as I can be here. It's wild. And I said to her, the problem now is, now I feel limitless. Now I feel like there's nothing holding me back. And my confidence is starting to brim in a way that it's starting to hinge on arrogance. And so, yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. I'm going to be 44 years old this year. And I'm telling you, if I could go back to 25 and redo it, quotations, I would. I wouldn't, because I wouldn't change anything about my life, because I believe that my life is where it is today because of every single good or fucking bad thing that has happened has led to today. And I wouldn't change today for fucking nothing. Nothing. I feel so positive about my life. I feel so great about what surrounds me that it's just all part of the same journey. And I'm excited to keep taking it. But I really want everyone to take some more time to think about it and then address it. Do something. Talking about it's not enough. Talking about it's not enough. Talking about doing something isn't enough. Go do something. I told you we were going to get a little deep today. I think we accomplished that. Have a great close to the month of March, and we will do this all again next week. Thank you so much.